Now, faced with less than 2 weeks to repeal Obamacare under budget reconciliation rules, Republicans have slid a tepid bowl of gruel across the table to the American people. To be fair, the GOP repeal is not completely awful. There is the ability, if one closes his eyes and plugs his nose, to choke it down. The Graham-Cassidy bill isn't perfect, Mr. Ryan writes, but it's better than the Affordable Care Act. Like other writers on the right, Mr. Ryan is happy to see the bill repeal the medical device tax and restrictions on health savings accounts. However, he worries that the bill does not really address the costs of health care, which is the real issue with rising premiums and deductibles. In the end, he has this somewhat tepid endorsement of the bill: just close your eyes and choke it down. If you imagine it tastes like steak, it'll make it easier. Read more again. This was by far the most generous gesture toward the poor in a proposal that, otherwise, amounts to a historic blow against the health safety net. There's just one problem: the provision doesn't actually seem to be in the bill. Mr. Weissman noticed that when Mr. Graham and Mr. Cassidy unveiled their healthcare bill last week, there was a provision that actually encouraged states to spend what pittance they received from the feds on insurance for some of their lowest-income residents. This, Mr. Weissman said, was good news until he noticed that the actual text of the bill was missing the language that ensured the state's poorest residents would be insured. States will be rewarded for having lots of poor people, he writes. They won't be rewarded for getting them insured. That bit just isn't there. Read more. It doesn't matter very much what's actually in the Graham-Cassidy bill, Mr. Scott argues. The policy is, in a very real sense, beside the point. What used to be red lines for Republicans, retaining many of the Affordable Care Act's taxes, allowing insurers to charge patients more based on their medical histories, are no longer obstacles to their support, Mr. Scott writes. Instead, he says, it comes down to a binary choice: will this bill repeal the Affordable Care Act or not? As for the Graham-Cassidy bill, a bill nobody had taken seriously until a week ago, it has one thing going for it: this is the only Obamacare repeal bill left. Read more. Overcome by their hunger to deliver a win to the base, erase once and for all the signature accomplishment of President Barack Obama, and show Chuck and Nancy that they can have all the crispy beef they want with the president, but they're still in the minority. They're moving to pass a bill almost no one understands or wants to. Ms. Carlson echoes Mr. Scott's critique when she calls the Graham-Cassidy bill a quixotic crusade that is as flawed, if not more, than the so-called skinny repealed. She pins her hopes on a rejection of the bill by Senator John McCain of Arizona, writing, when the pressure to take one for the team was immense to give his party bereft of victory a win, McCain said no. She hopes Mr. McCain can say no again. Read more. The members of USA Today's editorial board criticized the Graham-Cassidy bill by pointing out that the block grant system rewards red states and penalizes blue ones. In other words, the editorial says, it would punish those who vote against this ill-considered measure while rewarding those who vote for it. The bill's supporters don't know, or even care, what's in it. According to the editors, Republican senators support the bill purely because it is a last-ditch effort to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which they mischaracterize as some radical, left-wing experiment. Read more. Want the partisan writing roundup in your inbox? Sign up for the Morning Briefing newsletter or the What We're Reading newsletter.